Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm Braden, and in this video we're looking at the new Draco Centre Diff Set 2024. The 2024 is on the left and the 2022 is on the right. So we're going to go through the features of the new one and also compare it to the previous version. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, let's take a look at the features. So on the left we have the 2024 and the 2022 version of Centre Diff Sets. And first let's talk about bottom access. So like the previous version, we still have bottom access, but the profile of the lower plate has changed. In the beginning of the design process, I did have 4 screws going into here holding each plate on, so that would be 8 in total. But I eventually got rid of that, but just left the profile there. So for this version I decided to simplify it a bit more, and now it's just a simple square type shape with some radiuses up here. Much simpler to machine and much easier to get the fitment between both plates a little tighter. Okay, so that's bottom access. Alright, now the next thing is I have gotten rid of the threads on the sides of the plate. So before you would have the threads here and the screws would go through and of course tighten it against the TVP. But in the new one I decided to get rid of the threads and have a nut and screw set up. So there are a couple of benefits here. First is these slots double as weight saving, so removing material. There is a 30-gram less, or there's 30 gram less to this one, so I've saved 30 grams on this design. Not much, I know, but it's something. And let's see, here you can see there are nuts, but I will be using flange nuts in the final design, and the flange nuts have a large surface area, right? So when you tighten, it will clamp the assembly to the TVPs. So I think a much stronger fit to the vehicle. And there is a large motor here that's pulling down on the whole assembly, so I think this will add a bit more strength and spread out the load. So the screw is kind of clamping against it, so holding everything together much tighter. I think a definitely better setup, stronger setup. Although it may be a little tough to get a spanner in here and tighten everything, but I think the benefits outweigh the negatives in this case. Yeah, so threadless mounting. Also up the top here you can see, and this will be able to slide up and down with the adjustment. Yeah, so that's the next feature actually. I added an extra hole down, so actually the stock hole is on the top here, and I've added the one 5 millimeters below where the screw is. This raises the whole assembly 5 millimeters and gives more clearance on the bottom for the gear. So once again I have included this 3D printed gear cover to protect it even more, and the gear is smaller, which I'll get into soon. Okay, so you can raise it 5 millimeters. I limited it to 5 because as you know, the front dog bone where it joins to the cup joint on the front diff, there already is an 8-degree angle, so increasing it more will only increase this angle, which I didn't want to do. So there's about 2 degrees now where it was straight before in the stock position. Now the dog bones are 2 degrees on an angle, so if you mount it in this position. Yeah, so that is the new features there. Right, so now let's get into the gear itself. Alright, so let's talk about the new 52 tooth gear that's included with the set. So this is a smaller gear compared to the previous one of 56 tooth, and it's a mod 1 gear like before, but because of the smaller diameter, you have added ground clearance. As you can see, there's a couple of mil of difference there. Plus, with the added adjustability of the plates, you can increase the height by another 5 millimeters. Right. So yeah, that's one benefit. So let's talk about ratios a little bit. I made this table here. So this is the stock ratio from the output of the transmission from the Savage Flux XL 4.42, and of course I tried to match this as best as possible. So the pinions here highlighted in yellow are the ones that I use the most. I didn't actually use any of these because I didn't see the need to. So 13 is the most common one I used. So with the 56 tooth spur gear, I was getting a 4.31 to 1 ratio, and as you can see, it's quite close. Yeah, so I found that this was a good ratio to run. I didn't see any problems. There was a lot of heat, but I think that's more due to my driving style than the actual ratio. I did try 11, but as you can see, it's such a low ratio that I think within 2 packs the 11 tooth pinion just wore out. So it's doing 5 revolutions to the 1 revolution that the spur gear makes, so there's a lot more wear. So I tried a 12 next, and this worked out well, but it also wore out quite a lot too with this ratio. So 13 and 14 served me well previously. So with this new gear, I'm going to start with a 13 again and see how that goes, but I suspect 12 or 13 might be the best choice for this gear, but we will see. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, from 11 to 20 is the range. 11, anything less than this and your motor is going to contact the outdrives, and anything more than this, you're going to have trouble accessing the screws for the motor. So 20 is the max I would recommend. Right, so that is the gear ratios. This is also on my website if you want to look at it or reference it more. Alright, so, and finally let's look at the outdrives before we move on. So the outdrives haven't changed. I've put a logo on here. The material's the same, the hardening's the same. I've also just deepened the pocket in here so there's no contact with the end of the dog bone, but other than that it's the same. Yeah, okay. Right, so moving on to the next feature. Alright, so let's take a look at the ESC mount. So previously I had 2 machined aluminium stands that fit on here, and then I had the laser cut plate on top. So these are quite expensive to produce, adding to the total cost of it. So, and I noticed a lot of customers didn't really use these, they used their own setup. So in order to save money a little bit, I chose to do a 3D printed version. This is one piece. It's a 3D printed resin, and it's 5 millimeters thick. It feels very stout, but I will test this on Friday and see how it goes. If you adjust it, you can also, as you can see, there's a slot in here. So both screw positions will fit this mount. It just means the mount will raise a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So that is the mount. We'll see how it goes. It's included, and then of course like before, we have the 3D printed gear guard. This is just extra protection for the gear. It's designed to be sacrificial, so if it breaks, I have a free step file available on my website to download, so you can just print it, or if you like to buy it again, I can ship it, but shipping would be a bit too much for that kind of thing. So that's why I offer the file to download for free. Okay, so that is that. All right, and yes, finally we have the material. So as you can see, the look of the metal is quite different. This time I went with 7075. It is hard anodized, so it has a protective coating on it, and it's very, very nice and smooth, the finish. This was 6061, and it was just raw aluminium. I found it to be a little soft, especially around the bearing areas. So I decided to improve it by changing material and surface treatment. And I mean, there's a definite difference by just touching it. It's very, very smooth, and it's quite hard. Even 7075 is like harder, I think twice as strong, pretty much. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it came out and how it looks. It's almost a shame to get it dirty and scratched up, but yeah, I will be testing tomorrow to see how that goes. Another benefit is with the hardness of the material is around here. So when you tighten the screws, it tends to dig in to the material here and eventually wears. So with the hard anodized coating, that will extend the life of that area, hopefully. We will see. Yeah. The profile here is also a little different to accommodate the extra screw, and the pockets are a little different here too. Yeah, but overall I think it came out really nice. Looks like a much better product than before. Yeah, okay. So that is the overview and comparison of the Centre Diff Set. There will be more videos coming where I test it and update you on how things are going, so stay tuned for that. Please check out my website for any more information on this product, and pre-orders will be available soon. I'm hoping in May sometime, if everything goes to plan. Right, so thank you again for watching, and see you in the next video.